This summer, I'm running a new series of videos in which I review classic episodes of Doctor Who. Each week will see me watch a popular story from each Doctor that I've never seen before, then give my thoughts on the episode in a short but detailed review. I continued this week with a second Doctor serial, The Ice Warriors. Another 6-part episode, this story marks the first appearance of the Ice Warriors in the classic series and features Victoria and Jamie as companions. Set on Earth in a new ice age in the year 5000, the plot follows the crew of a small base using an ionizer to keep the glaciers at bay. One of the crew, an archaeologist named Arden, soon makes a discovery in the ice. However, little does he know that what he has found is an ancient Martian soldier who has plans to conquer the Earth. I very much liked Patrick Troughton's portrayal of the Doctor in this episode, and I think Jamie and Victoria are good companions too. In fact, it was a real breath of fresh air to watch a story featuring two companions from the past. We've only really had present-day Earth girls in the revived series, so it would be a nice change to have a character from, say, 100 years ago join the Doctor in a future series. One of the benefits of having companions from the past is that, although they can potentially be very intelligent, there are a lot of things they don't know about modern society, and in particular modern technology. For instance, at one point, Varga the Ice Warrior asks Victoria about how he was brought back to life, but she's unable to explain as she doesn't understand the science involved. Also, later on the Doctor makes links between the ionisation process and a magnifying glass so that Jamie finds it easier to comprehend. Maybe having two historical companions travelling with the Doctor at once is a bit too much though. Perhaps an interesting combination for the future could be a companion from the past, a companion from the present, and the Doctor, who is from the future. The Ice Warriors were very well realised as well. I really love the design of the creatures, and I think their costumes are brilliant too. It's hard to imagine that there's an actor in there when watching. I thought their voices were very atmospheric and really quite spooky, as was the haunting, high-pitched theme that played throughout the episode whenever they appeared. They really do stand out as one of the best monsters of their era, in my opinion. Another factor that persuaded me to choose this story as my second Doctor choice is that episodes 2 and 3 are missing from the BBC archives. I wanted to ensure that I watched one of the incomplete 60s serials as part of this watchathon so that I could experience their missing parts in a different form. In the case of the Ice Warriors, we're lucky enough to have had animated reconstructions of the two lost episodes, the closest we'll ever get to watching the real thing, unless the two episodes in question are ever found. I was impressed by the quality of the animation, and it's also a nice touch to have it in black and white. It's a bit cartoony, so some may find it hard to get into. However, I personally thought it was very well done. I thought the plot was good, although 6 parts did seem a little too long in my opinion. Maybe the story might have been better suited to a 4-part episode instead. Having said that, I still enjoyed it, and there were some good cliffhangers, such as when the first Ice Warrior woke up at the end of part 1. My only real quibble is that it was sometimes hard to understand what was going on with the ionizer, a device I'd never heard of before. I did feel somewhat undereducated as a consequence of this, and it did affect my enjoyment of the story slightly overall. Once it had finished, I did look up the Doctor Who universe theory of ionisation, and after this, the climax at the end of part 6 did make more sense. It did bring the wider topic of science and Doctor Who to my attention though. It's not the first time I've watched a classic episode that relies on some form of scientific knowledge to understand the plot fully. This type of story occurs more during the earlier eras of the show, in which one of the main aims was to educate the viewer as well as entertain them. It's certainly not the type of story to expect to find in the revived series, although I can't decide if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Should the modern episodes have a greater focus on real-life science to save the day? Or should the classic era make less of a fuss about it? It's certainly an interesting debate, with the classic and revived eras at opposite ends of the spectrum. Overall, The Ice Warriors is an enjoyable episode, featuring a great cast and superb monster. The plot was interesting and intriguing, although it does rely on some scientific understanding and a lot of concentration, plus 6 parts seemed a little too long for me. I've only seen a handful of other Troughton episodes, so I'm unsure how I'd rank it against the rest of his era. However, in terms of this review series, I think I preferred the Dalek invasion of Earth from last week, just by a margin. Next week, I'll be moving on to the Pertwee era with the Green Death. Until then, goodbye.